This really is the Halloween franchise equivalent to The Last Jedi, and it's time for it to burn. Okay, spoiler review for Halloweenends. Buckle in. Off the bat, Michael kills one person on his own in the movie. The other doesn't count because he was bleeding out. Michael is barely in the film, which I'll get to later. And the final showdown between Michael and Laurie is like 2 minutes where he really doesn't do any real damage to her, and she. Ugh. I'll get to it. The movie begins promising. It's set in it begins in 2019. For some reason, Haddonfield is still celebrating Halloween. You think for at least the following year after the 2008 massacre, they would have banned Halloween, but no. This 21-year-old gets a babysitting gig, and he's actually scared watching John Carpenter's The Thing. There's an accident where this is a pretty big house with 3 floors and a huge flight of steps. This kid locks him in a closet, and he panics and kicks the door open. Unfortunately, the kid's in front of the door, and the kid goes flying down the 3 flights of steps and dies. Actually, a strong opening, and it goes into what I thought was a cool opening credits sequence, but now the more I think about it, it's just stupid. It's pumpkins with other pumpkins behind them, splitting them open to reveal the new jack-o'-lantern, and yeah, that was just bad. We see Laurie's writing a book, and she's actually in the healing process. She's celebrating Halloween. Allison's working at a hospital. We see Deputy Hawkins, and it's like they're trying to move on, even though Haddonfield has come into some hard times. This kid gets bullied, and he crushes a glass bottle of chocolate milk, cuts his hand real bad. Laurie takes him to the hospital, hoping to set him up with her granddaughter, and I'm like, I'm kind of liking this premise so far. I see it's going to be about people facing and finally overcoming their grief and trauma. But no. This kid, this 21-year-old pipsqueak, gets dragged to a party by Allison, leaves because he runs into the mother of the kid he was babysitting. These other students who, by the way, Laurie slash their tires in an earlier scene. They beat up on him and throw him over a bridge, and he gets dragged into the sewers by Michael. But Michael doesn't kill him. Instead, we see a scene where Michael grabs him by the throat, and when they're meeting eye to eye, it's like Michael sees his past. I'm not kidding. And he becomes the disciple of Michael Myers. This 21-year-old pipsqueak does most of the killings in the movie. And as he grows darker, he makes Allison darker to the point where Allison just becomes completely unlikable. Okay, there's a scene where he kills Allison's boss. And I'm like, I see, he's gonna start killing, and that's gonna draw Michael out, and Michael's gonna start killing. No, Michael was. Oh, I can't believe I'm saying this. Michael was working with the pipsqueak. Yeah, Michael has a disciple and a sidekick in this movie. You've got to be kidding me. I literally, at this part, I got up, walked out into the lobby, and I sent a few friends messages telling them how bad this was. I went back in, more nonsense was going on, and I walked back out. Like, I walked out 3 times. And there's a scene where. Oh, this 21-year-old pipsqueak overpowers Michael and steals his mask. People, 3 people got up, walked out, and never came back. It's another scene where I actually just walked into the lobby. Like, what am I watching? But I wanted to review the movie, so I went back. Oh, I wish I didn't. Like, you might have been able to pull me back in up till that point, but after that point, I hate this movie. And Lori starts seeing him get darker. She starts seeing a look in his eyes that reminds her of Michael. And that actually drives a rift between her and Allison. Now, the radio tower that the director teased was really a big nothing sandwich. You hear the radio tower a few times throughout the movie. There's a promo where it says, giving you the urge, and I'm just sinking into my seat like, oh, great, they're going to do it. It's the radio signal that made Michael a killer. No, it just has a few scenes centered around it. The pipsqueak kills the 2 people at the radio station and then sets it on fire. Yet this kid goes through with the blue jumper and Michael's mask. He kills the people in the car that threw him over the bridge. Ugh. Yeah. Lindsay Wallace is back in this, but her role really equates to a gigantic, overblown nothing sandwich where she's in a few scenes. This movie feels like it had several ideas they were trying to experiment with, but nothing really connects and meshes together. And I may be wrong on this, but the stuff with Corey, I feel like they had a partial script to kills and they really didn't know what they wanted to do. And they had this script about a kid with a past who thinks he's seeing a killer and people start dying, and at the end was gonna be revealed he was crazy and he was really the killer all along. I think they had that script and had no intention of using it, so they Frankensteined 2 scripts together, because even though I hate the character of Corey, especially for making Michael look like a punk, yeah, Busta Rhymes karate kicking Michael is looking pretty good now, isn't it? Like, that was its own script, and they just forced it into this one, even though it didn't fit. Maybe I would be more lenient if this pipsqueak was in the last 2 movies, but he wasn't. You've got to be kidding me. What kind of drugs were they doing when they wrote this movie? The final showdown Well, there's a fight between Lori and Alice, and you think Lori's gonna shoot herself, but she's waiting for Corey. She shoots him. He stabs himself in the neck. Allison comes back in, runs off, and Lori had phoned into suicide at this point. Then Michael shows up, takes his mask. They fight a letdown fight where Lori doesn't even really get bloodied up. She stabs Michael's hands through a table, slits his throat. Allison breaks his arm after coming back, slits his wrists, and then the town drives in a funeral procession to the junkyard where Corey works, and they throw his body into a metal grinder. I would have given that more points as if when Lori was pushing him in, he grabbed her and pulled him in with her. But no, Michael is even made to look like a punk by Lori. He gets one clean kill, then he finishes Corey off after Corey was shot and stabbed himself in the throat with the knife. Ugh. Like I said, 3 people walked out. Everyone else that left was, what am I thinking? And one woman even said, I thought I was seeing a Michael Myers movie. That wasn't a Michael Myers movie. This film is an absolute, it's not even a solid F. That doesn't do good enough. So I'm going to grade this on a 1 to 10 scale. And on a 1 to 10 scale, it's negative 100 million. I cannot recommend this movie. I hate this movie. Here's my ticket. It ain't even good enough to burn right on its own. But yeah, that movie was just horrible. Michael should not, which was just after how overpowered, brutal, and menacing he was in Halloween Kills. Now he's just some lame old man. Talk about inconsistent. This was clearly never meant to be a trilogy, and from what I understand, this movie was not the movie Malik Akkad, who owns the franchise, signed off on. I can't say how true that is. I was watching a live stream last night and they were talking about it. I believe it. I'll get this movie on video just for posterity's sake to have it to complete the collection. That being said, I'm done with this movie, and unless we get some kind of extended director's cut, which from what I hear, this is the director's cut, I'm never watching this movie again. I will get it, stick it on the shelf just for the collection, and I'm never going to touch it or look at it again. It's just going to be there, so in my mind, I know I have all of them. So like, share, comment, subscribe. Do not waste your time with this dumpster fire of a movie. You will be much happier. Over and out. Yeah, Halloween ends all right. Halloween, the end of my patience.